there are some people that are really passionate about weight loss. Like they just don't like the way that they look. They don't like the way that they feel. They want to do something about it. Like they feel as if that's a top priority in their life. It's I have to do something about this. It's hard. I stumble, but I want it. I want it so bad that I'm going to always pick myself up and I'm going to do something different than I did last time. And I'm not giving up. I'm not giving up. And I don't think you're giving up, but that's the type of person that's put weight loss as a top priority, where they can focus on that. And they really feel as if when they look at themselves, they're just not happy with what they see and they want to do something about it. In your case, I feel as if you're not, you really don't, you don't have a strong level of concern or disdain or frustration with the consequence of eating the way that you do. Like when you look at yourself at 330 pounds, it's not something you focus on. It's like you don't. In fact, it's probably something you drown out by eating even more. So it's not something you really think about. And I think you're a lot of what surrounds this, the addiction component, is that you do tend to desensitize yourself by escaping. And when you do that, you really don't focus on how you feel about anything, because that's the whole point. Like if you step back and the food isn't there and I have to start thinking about where I am in life and what do I want to do now? And what are my goals and how am I going to get there? You start to feel certain things, and part of it's frustration, part of it's fear, part of it's anger, part of it's excitement. I mean, it's a mix of everything, but you're feeling a lot of different emotions. But when you're not taking that time to step away from the escape and actually look very carefully at what it is that you want to achieve, how you feel about where you are now, you just never think about it. So it's like, it's not even, I don't know if you ever really step back and have those moments where you take time and just start really, really analyzing, like, where do I want to go next? Like, where do I want to be? And what do I want to do to get there? And how important is this to me? Tell me how weight loss fits into that picture that I just described. Have you taken the time ever to really just sit down and ask yourself, like, how do I really feel about this? Like, is this really important to me? Is it something that I do because I know I should be doing it? So, I just kind of like do it. I do it because I know, like, ultimately it would be great if I could achieve this, but it's not that important to me that I feel as if I don't achieve it, things really are going to change much for me. I just keep going through. I'd rather have the capacity to be able to use food to cope with life. I think that you could make the argument. I mean, because you can come to this conclusion. Someone can make the argument that's more important to me than losing weight. Like, I would rather have the ability to lean on this food than to weigh 230 pounds. I would much rather have that in my hip pocket to be able to take periods of escape and just loosen up, not even have to worry about protein and not have to worry about what I eat. I just eat what I want to eat. And that gives me something to always look forward to, not just once a day, but anytime during the day. Anytime that I want during the day, I can eat what I want, and it makes me feel like I'm free. I mean, just contrast the weight loss goal with wanting to be free and wanting to eat in order to escape and having that ability to do so at will.
You're unbelievably, I mean, I tell you this, but I mean, it's true. You're ridiculously wise and observant. I mean, I don't even observe these things until you bring them up, and don't get too full of yourself, but
you're not making it
I
easy,
have to
man.
tell you while I'm thinking about it. So I like when things were in a groove for me and I was able to, really channel a lot of my energy into something that I was passionate about, and that was work.
Mm-hmm.
That drive and that focus being there seems to have been really helpful in and just like I did have an overall game plan of, okay, look, for this period of time, I'm going to be able to lock in here, get in this routine, and even if it's slow and steady, it's going to be a productive routine. And for a long time, you had me, we were focused on the short term goals. That was good. Um, and but at the same time, like it wasn't like that was my number one mission in life. Like it wasn't even like it was just a part of the routine that was working. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't even that much pressure. I felt like, and now with a lack of focus in so many ways everywhere else, and not having an established routine right now, and everything just being in limbo, it's just like, I mean, what you said. I'm more tempted more frequently and more accessible to challenges that I don't need. And so it's painful, man, because it's like I've made all this progress. I see it. And, there's a part of me that has a level of satisfaction knowing that, like, okay, I recognize, and I know friends of mine recognize that there's been positive change, but it's not like this is my ultimate destination. But I don't seem to have the capacity right now to place this as the priority it should be. And I'm still happy to report like some of the horrible habits that I've dropped are still dropped. But when you want me to compare between the comfort that comes with satisfying something that I have control over, I guess, then how I feel in the moment versus a goal that is, you know, far away. I mean, ultimately, like the I guess the frustration that comes from making it even weight, or dropping a pound or gaining 2 pounds. It's like in the short term, it means very little. Like I need something when I need it, and that's what I guess it's probably coming down to. Like I'm weak. I need, if everything else is kind of just going crazy, I need something to just be happy with. You know what I mean? And it's sad, man. It's pathetic to say that out loud, but it's true. I mean, that's where I'm at. I was I was quite content in so many ways for so long during the positive aspects of this journey, and then it gets derailed, it seems like, by things that aren't always in my control. And again, not an excuse at all. I mean, I'm got to be accountable. I'm messing up, but I feel like if I feel like I'm going to be better focused again when things are more settled. And but it just seems like it's very, very challenging right now when they're not. And I mean, even a week ago, I was with you, and after my one day of debauchery, I was locked in. Right? I mean, being with you, spending time, and just I was content in so many ways. It actually cast the shadow on the uncertainty, and it was just a joy filled visit. And I didn't have gaps where I felt like there was a need to fill. And it's like you're bringing me conscious of this because I've never thought about these things before. But there's an emptiness somewhere where if I get lonely, the car thing really stuck out. And then, um, I'm not lonely when I'm hanging out with you for a week. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? We're having a great time. So, and I was able to completely be disciplined for what, 5, 6 days, like 5 days.
Yeah.
So, um, yeah, I mean, like, there's a part of me that wishes I could just take a month or two off of life and just like come hang out with you and lock in and see what kind of damage I could do. But I mean, that's not necessarily the most realistic plan ever. I'm never one to say never, but like I I feel like that's where I need to be. You know what I mean? Like I need that level of just peace and not having my mind so just all over the place on things that I mean are out of my a lot of them are out of my control. I'm trying to do everything I can to control my situation. Um, I'm looking for a different job, and so in that process, um, there's excitement. There is excitement, and then there's communication with people, and I'm probably healthier and having better habits when I'm having good communication with people. I'm having good interviews or having good interactions. Uh, there's probably an element where if I feel like something goes good, there's a celebration part to it. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I nailed that interview. I feel really good about this. And so now I gotta, on my way home, I'm gonna stuff myself with candy. You know what I mean? Like, um, and then there's at the same time probably much more damage is done when if I feel like I get some news that's not ideal, like this just job didn't quite pan out, or that communication didn't go very well. Those types of things can send me into a rougher place. And so I mean, I feel like this sounds pretty dire when I hear myself out loud, and it's sad, man. It's really sad. Like I didn't see any of this a few weeks back, a few months back, and I'm somebody who takes a lot of pride in their work, and um, there's probably aspects of that relate to this in some way. Like I'm not satisfied when I'm not working. I'm not as satisfied when I'm not working. I want to do something that I feel like is meaningful and positive and productive and helpful to other people. And when that's not happening, that probably brings me down. And um, yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's I'm constantly learning, and that's one thing I'm grateful for. Us talking every week, like you're bringing things to my attention that I'm not even aware of. And I don't sit and think what's the ultimate goal, or I was just rolling. I was like, okay, this is working. I'm gonna lose 1 to 3 pounds a week. I'm just gonna keep plugging away, and it's gonna be mindless. It was like, I remember saying it was easy, right? It was easy at that point. Like it was just plug and play. Figure out something there, replace this, replace that. If I'm getting sick of the same flavor or whatever it is, and then it's just like I'm not there right now. I'm not there. I feel like I can get there, but I feel like I need help getting there.
Well, firstly, I want to say how proud I am of you for just having the humility to talk so openly about this and not put up any defenses,
Yeah.
because it'd be very easy to try and make excuses. But instead, and the only way to be able to make positive progress in this life is to be humble and to be open to change. And you're looking at your life with all this knowledge that you're gaining through us meeting on a weekly basis. Um, you're opening yourself up to the truth about what it is you're doing and why. And that's the first step at starting to build new habits, is being aware of it. Just like you were saying, like you weren't aware of what was happening because you were numbing out. There was no time to become aware of anything. These weren't conversations you were having with anyone. If you were stressed, you would eat. It was just what you did. You've done it forever. You don't think about it. You just do it. So what's there to think about, right? Under those circumstances, unless weight loss becomes such an important priority for you that you have to face it. But that was never really the case. So you're kind of stuck in a situation now where life is not the way that you would like. And there's a couple things that have been uncovered here. One, I mean, which is where most people who are food addicts are in terms of when it is they eat the most. It's when life becomes difficult. So life becomes difficult. We try to escape it. We eat more food. But you got a flip side to that. And I discovered this while we were sitting down on your meal when you were about to depart, and you told me, and we were talking about, could we make some changes on this trip back so you don't consume 7,500 calories? Can we come up with some methods? And you made it perfectly clear to me that you weren't going home without doing some version of what you did to get here. Okay, fine. So we agreed on cutting that in half. But it was a startling revelation to me when you suggested that when you compare the trip to me to the trip home, you felt you needed to eat more on the way to me versus on the way back. And I was like, wait a minute. Like, because Guy thought, under typically what you would expect is someone would eat more on the way home because they're leaving a fun situation and they're not in the type of mood that they would be in when they were headed to a situation where they were about to have fun, right? But you told me, no, it's reversed. It's like, I need to, when I'm headed to you, when I'm going to see you, I feel like I need to eat more. That's the time that I have the most difficulty with being able to control what I eat. And you just said it again. You said this again. We're like, well, I just had a great job interview. Guess what? I'm feeling really good. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to eat. So I'm going to celebrate. So there's at some point in your life, going way back, there was a connection between having a good time and eating delicious food. Like there's a connection between the two, that celebration and tasty food go hand in hand. But more importantly, if you want to try and hone in on, what exactly is this? It's more of not the fact that you need to have the food to have a great time. It's that if something happens that you're excited about, in order for you to continue to be excited, you have to either A, have the food, or B, have someone there to really celebrate it with. It's one or the other. So when we're together and something great happens, you don't need to go out and eat that way because we're together and we can go ahead and make a big deal out of it. You're getting a lot of positive feedback from me. We're both excited about it. You're not alone. Remember, you're not alone. You're with me. So we're together. But when you're not together and it's just you, who am I going to celebrate with? Well, yeah. I'm going to celebrate with Snickers and I'm going to celebrate with cupcake.
It's ridiculous, man.
Right?
And what? Yeah, I think you're right, dude. It sounds pathetic, dude. Like, but it's embarrassing.
It's what you built this. You built this habit of connection with food. Food is substitutes for human connection. Okay. It triggers so much of what you feel when you're in a good situation with someone and you're, good friendship, good relationship, whatever it may be. And you're able to really bond close with that person and really share these moments together. When you're by yourself and you want to celebrate, how are you going to celebrate by yourself? You really can't, but you can with food, right? Because food's taking the place of the other person you'd be celebrating with. So then I'm going to take in the food and then it feels like, this is a worthwhile experience for me. I'm actually celebrating. But you don't, like when we're together and you talk about spending time with me and being able to make progress, it's because great news can be celebrated with me. Like we can have that celebration together and you don't need to have that food to be able to take you to the next level because we got each other. So that emptiness that's there when you're alone and when you're by yourself, that's filled with food. That's been a habit that's been spanning, nearing 50 years now. That's tough. Of course it's tough to break. It is very tough to break. The first step is knowing that it's there, realizing what it is that the habit has been. And then, that's the first, and that's the step that you're coming upon now, is being able to identify all the habits, because you really weren't paying attention to any of it. You're a number, and a number doesn't do much time thinking about their problems. They just try to escape them. And the easiest escape is get me the food. And it shows, like you can see when someone's obese, like they're using food as a source of comfort, like to a great degree. And that's the situation that you've been doing your whole life. So obviously when life gets stressful, you're on a job hunt, things aren't structured and regimented, food is going to be your stress relief in times of of difficulty, but it's also going to be something that you celebrate with when you think things might be going in the right direction.
Twisted, isn't it? It's twisted. There's
So
really no time not to pig out, dude.
no,
Bottom line.
Right. So really, ultimately, this is where we're at. Things will become good for you at some point. I mean, you're headed. You're doing all the.
I believe that wholeheartedly. I do.
Right?
I can believe that in my heart that it's all going to work out. I believe. I'm a believer, and I have full faith. But I'm still intoxicated with this uncertainty. I guess just not knowing myself what my destiny is at this point for an extended period of time is troubling me. And I still have faith. I still believe it's all going to work out. But this waiting period, if you want to call it that, to figure it all out is driving me nuts. And this is what
for sure. That's the consequence of it.
This is what's doing it. Yeah, I mean,
just so you know that you're not alone. Okay. Dave Ramsey has said many, many, many times on his show over and over and over again, and people have said this when they call into a show, that when people are in debt and they're having financial struggles, if they're able to resolve that, suddenly, amazingly, miraculously, they lose weight. And the reason for that is the stress that's brought upon by financial burden and difficulty, of course, causes them to numb out with more food, and they gain weight. And that is not a priority at that point to be able to deal with that, because that's helping to make the debt feel less painful. So if you're in a situation that's not comfortable and you're using food as a source of comfort, the last thing on your mind is, I'm going to take care of the body weight issue by eating less food while that financial difficulty remains. It's going to be, there are very few people on the face of the earth that would have the wherewithal to do that, right? So instead they take care of the situation with their debt, and then once they're debt free and once their finances are in order, suddenly they start losing weight without even really trying. Like they're not even, but they're able then at that point in time to have the wherewithal to not use food for that source of comfort that they were during the periods of financial distress. So this is typical of mankind. Okay, that's not. I mean, there are millions and millions of people that will do this, and they'll do this, and not necessarily have done this their entire life, but they'll even do it just during periods of difficulty. So you're having what would be considered a period of intense stress in your life. So we know, based on past history, in the past 6 months, the first 3 months were great, 2 pounds a day average. So we know that when things are going reasonably well for you, you can get focused and you can lose weight. When things are not going well, this would be an example of the complete opposite of that. You're having a difficult time. Food is becoming more of a influence in your life because you're trying to escape the stress that surrounds you, and a 4.6 pound weight gain this week. So ultimately, the goal is to correct the issues that are pushing you away from your purpose. Because when you have a purpose, and when each and every day you're getting up with a reason and you're working towards something, that allows you to feel a sense of confidence, and then you're able to integrate the weight loss within that and make progress in all areas. That's not happening yet. So during the period between today and whenever it is that you get this resolved, the goal really needs to be to do as little damage as possible. I mean, if we're not going to get to the point of being able to have positive results week to week, I think a big win is if you could pause, if you can aim, like, I'm not going 4.6 pounds in a week. It could get really ugly a month from now. Okay, I could be at, pushing 20-pound weight gain, and I'm 23 pounds down from where we started. You could be right back at 350 again. Okay, that's a very distinct possibility. So that's the type of focus at this stage when things are difficult. That's the type of focus that someone who's using food as a coping mechanism to your degree has to put forth. Like, I don't want to spiral out of control. Like, I don't want that to happen. You have to be of the frame of mind that I have to put in enough mechanisms of control so that way I'm not on my way up week to week. That I'm just sort of staying within this range until I'm able to say, all right, now I'm ready to take that next level down and start making new progress and start making new records.